Let me tell you a little bit about Graham MacDermott. Graham was born in Moncton, New Brunswick, and raised in Plaster Rock, New Brunswick, where as a young man he played hockey, baseball, and basketball. But he also had a passion for writing and literature, which you will come to find out has played a large part in the later part of his retired life. Graham and his brother David spent their summers with their mother and father outside of Alma, New Brunswick, near Fundy National Park, where in fact Graham's mother was born in a house located on the golf course, before it was built, of course. During that time, Graham fell in love with the ocean and fell in love with painting. At 15 years old, Graham bought his first motorcycle, his first of many. He paid for this with the proceeds from a job as a packer and carry-out boy at a local grocery store. In 1967, Graham's father moved them to New Glasgow, Nova Scotia, where Graham finished high school and did a few jobs here and there, but later in 1969 decided he would join the Army. In fact, he joined the Air Force. During his time in the Air Force, Graham got his private pilot's license, found the woman of his dreams and married her, and later decided he wanted to finish university. So he ended up going to St. Mary's University, majoring in English literature and political science. Finishing out their military career in British Columbia was great, but Graham and his new wife Bonnie decided they wanted to move back to the land, and they bought a farmhouse in Pictou County, Nova Scotia. It was around this time that Graham had an interest in journalism and started working for the evening news, and later became news director for CKEC. It was also at this time that I was born. Dad still had great academic ambition and decided he wanted to finish his education degree at McGill University in Montreal. So we ended up living in the student ghetto at McGill. My sister was conceived around this time. Dad graduated with his degree and was offered a job in Suglak, a tiny Inuit village in the northern tip of Quebec. While Dad went to Quebec to start his teaching job, Mom and myself stayed back in Ontario until my sister Caitlin was born. And 16 days after she was born, we actually made the trek up north, where Dad met us on the fjord after a long canoe ride. It was quite an adventure, let me tell you. Well, after a few years of living in the cold north, it was time to head back to Nova Scotia. We ended up back in Pictou County, living right next door to the farmhouse we had lived in before leaving for Montreal, and Dad applied for a job in Kentville as a radio and television arts instructor. Well, he got the job, and this was just the beginning of a whole new chapter in our lives.
Hi Mom, hi Dad. So what happened next in the career of Graham MacDermott? Well, in 1982, the MacDermott clan moved to Kentville, Nova Scotia, so that Dad could teach broadcast journalism to the RTA students at King's Tech. He also taught some communications courses to trade students as well. I was lucky enough to attend King's Tech daycare at this time as a mature 3-year-old. I loved getting up in the mornings and heading to work with my dad. I loved seeing him in the hallway throughout the day. And the best part was at the end of the school day, Dad would come pick me up and take me back to his classroom, where I could either hang out with the RTA kids or jump in front of a camera and be silly, or get behind the mic and host my own radio program. Amazing way to spend your childhood. One of my all-time favorite memories, I think, as a child has to be just walking through the hallways of King's Tech. I would reach way up with my tiny little hand and grab onto my dad's hand, and he'd look down and give me the big smile, and we'd just walk the hallways together. I absolutely loved it. Other favorite memories definitely include the countless hours Dad and I spent in the gym at King's Tech. Early on, Dad coached the men's basketball team at King's Tech, and I got to hang out and go to practices, and I absolutely loved watching him coach the games. I knew at a very young age that my dad was an amazing man, and that other people knew that as well. My dad had a wonderful career at King's Tech. After teaching for a few years, he became a college counselor, and then a department head, and he continued to be involved with the RTA program. He was then seconded to COGS, the College of Geographical Science, Annapolis campus, as acting principal for a year. Throughout these years, Dad found time to complete his master's degree from Mount St. Vincent University, the same university that I would later attend and graduate with 2 degrees from. My brother Angus and I both graduated from the RTA program. Angus went into the video production world and has had a fantastic career. I went the radio route, and I used the teachings that I have learned from radio and television arts each and every day in my career as a public school teacher. In 2001, Dad left King's Tech to become principal of Akerley campus, a place he felt quite at home in. With the expansion of the NSCC and its growing importance in education throughout the province, Dad also took on the role of acting principal for the new waterfront campus. This was a project he quite enjoyed. From initial drawings to meetings with architects to the construction of the building, as well as relocation of programs, such as the RTA program, Dad was a part of it all. Graham R. MacDermott retired in 2009 after 27 years with the college. He took great pride in his students over the years and has kept in touch with many. And now, thanks to social media like Facebook, more students are able to track him down and get in touch with him. Growing up, it was commonplace to turn on the TV or switch on the radio and hear one of Dad's students. Dad would jump up with excitement and say, "That's one of my kids." I always knew they'd make it big. Dad, you have been a huge part of the RTA program and the NSCC. I am so proud to be your daughter. I am proud of the career that you have led and the lives that you have changed. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. You have been a positive role model for myself, for my brother Angus, and for thousands of young men and women throughout Nova Scotia, Canada, and the world. Dad, I love you. Thank you so much.